Hello, and welcome to Marriage Unchained, the art of one flesh, where saving marriages, saving families, and saving souls is the flavor of the day. Now, let's join our host and author of Marriage Unchained, Catholic Alpha Radical, Jerry Jacobs Jr.
Welcome to Catholic Alpha Radical Live, where I help you fix your Catholic marriage. I've coached and helped hundreds of men in their marriages, and now I want to help you. Call 313-RADICAL now. That's area code 313-RADICAL, and ask me anything on tough marital issues, such as what to do when she's asked for divorce, what to do when you have a mutual agreement of separation but you didn't want it, what to do when your wife is cold and distant, what to do when your wife is having an affair, what to do when your marriage is bad, boring, lukewarm, and passionless, what to do when you engage in a marital embrace less than once a month, what to do when you sleep in separate bedrooms, what to do when she has left the home with or without the children, what to do when you're divorced but didn't want it. Call 313-RADICAL. That's area code 313-723-4225. That's area code 313-723-4225. Again, call 313-RADICAL right now for answers to intimacy problems, communication problems, prayer and spiritual warfare problems, authentic masculinity problems, aka how to man up. So sit back, relax, take a chill pill, and get ready to rock. But don't duck. Can you feel it? Catholic Alpha Radical coming at you now. Hello, I'm Jerry Jacobs Jr., and welcome to Catholic Alpha Radical Live, where my main mission is to keep you out of divorce court. The Save My Catholic Marriage Ministry is for you if your marriage has very little or no emotional closeness. Your wife has asked for divorce or separation. Your wife has left the home or you are separated. Your wife is in the home, but you are in separate bedrooms. Your marriage is just plain boring or lacks passion. Your marriage, you engage in a marital embrace less than weekly or severe less than monthly. You are divorced but didn't want it. In this 51st episode, I ask, what are the clues your wife wants a divorce? Plus, live calls answering your marriage questions. So please, get in that queue right now. I've helped hundreds of men in their marriages, so why don't you get in the queue so I can help you? Get your Catholic marriage questions answered now by calling 313-RADICAL. That's 313-723-4225. Or call in using your browser at callinstudio.com/radical1. Don't wait. Get in the queue now. Call 313-RADICAL for some resolution to your marriage confusion. Quote of the day. So we always do a quote. I always do a quote from my main man, Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen. So everybody, here we go. Quote, in sex, the male adores the female. In love, the man and woman together adore God. End quote. Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen, Book 3, To Get Married. I've helped hundreds of men in their marriages. Allow me to help you in yours. Get live Catholic marriage help Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, for some resolution to your marriage confusion. All right. So we are going to get in today's content, the Catholic Marriage Minute. because I want you to understand what it's going to take to help you to create a great marriage, not just a great marriage, but a legendary marriage. But first, I want to go into something real quick. The Catholic Alpha 10-Day Lenten Challenge. So today is the day, Ash Wednesday. So Ash Wednesday, we get our ashes. Why? To signify to the world that our Lord Jesus Christ died for us. He was true man, true authentic man. And it's our job as men to emulate him and Saint Joseph. So in honor of that, I've been slacking a little bit. So on my fasting. So what I want to do is do a 10-day Lenten challenge. And I'm asking all the Catholic Alpha men in my program, my sons, and you out there to join me in the Catholic Alpha 10-Day Challenge starting this Monday. So let's go for Monday and then go for 10 days. So that'll be the following Thursday, not this Thursday coming up, not this Thursday or next Thursday, but the Thursday after that. It sounds like it's going to be hard, and it's going to be hard. But guess what? Whatever benefits you the best, why is it not supposed to be hard? Your marriage is going to be hard. If you stand there and fight for it, it gets better over time. It's worth it, okay? So the way we do the challenges, you can do it like the church, so the Catholic Church. So you can just go, you can fast the traditional way and just, water, definitely, of course, water. Water, coffee, tea, no food whatsoever. If you start to feel real bad, then you can do some broth, like beef broth or chicken broth or seafood broth, something like that. But it has to be some kind of protein, or it could be vegetable broth too. The other thing is we don't fast on Sundays because Sunday's a feast day. So we don't fast on Sunday. So on Sunday you must do broth, some kind of broth, whether it be beef, chicken, seafood, vegetable, whatever, at least once that day. The other thing is the way I'm going to fast, though, and the best way to fast is to fast doing the master cleanse. So the master cleanse is basically, it cleans the toxins out of your body as you fast. So not only are you getting benefits from spiritual, uniting your suffering for Christ, for your marriage and your wife and your children, but you're also getting toxins out of your body. Remember, over time, toxins will cause disease such as diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, cancer. No one wants to tell you that stuff, but that's the truth. Toxins are what? Over-the-counter medications, prescribed medications, carbohydrates, sugars, bread, chips, all that kind of stuff, okay? Those things are toxic to your system. And so when you fast using the master cleanse, what will happen is that over that 10 days, that will cleanse the toxins out. What are some of the other benefits to that? High sexual performance. Anytime you fast, your sexual performance goes through the roof, especially when you do it over multiple days. Also, if you're in marriage crisis, fasting helps you make a plea to God to get to your wife's heart, to ask her to stop having a cold heart. And so that suffering that you give for Christ and your wife helps heal your marriage. And just overall, there's nothing bad than fasting. Also, fasting, what it does is it helps you to control, your mind controls your flesh instead of your flesh controlling you. That's one of the main problems with men today. We have forgotten how to be warriors. And we have no thirst for battle, as my man Worf would say on Star Trek. Men in this country especially, I don't know about other countries, it's been 30 years since I've been to another country. But in this country, the men have lost the battle, have lost the thirst for battle. And fasting, when you fast, that right there gets you in the game, in the battle, okay? And so when that right there, your mind starts to control your flesh, which means what? Pleasure. Our passions, our passions, what are what? Masturbating, pornography, what are some other stuff? All we looking for is pleasure and playing golf and video games. If we love our job, we're at our job all the time. Anything that's pleasurable, vacations, And all we do 24 hours a day is seek for pleasure. Our goal in life is to get pleasure. But as a man, our goal in life should be to suffer as Christ did. But only to suffer for who? Suffer for God, our wife, our children. Okay, that's what this is about. So join me starting Monday in the Catholic Alpha 10-day challenge. We're going to try our best to make it through it, fellas. Okay, sweet. So now let's move on to today's content, the Save My Catholic Marriage Minute, where we talk about what are the clues that your wife wants a divorce. It's a sad, sad thing, isn't it? Separation, divorce, annulment, all the same thing. All the same thing. It all boils down to what? Your wife's unhappy. She's not fulfilled as a woman. She doesn't see in you what she saw before, mainly because of your actions and neglect and things like that. Of course, I'm not blaming you because you probably don't even know how to be a man, what a real man, what that really means. So that's why I'm here, and the Holy Spirit is here to help you to try to understand and teach you what authentic and true masculinity is. And sure, I don't know it all. I really don't. All I do is research, find out what God's trying to teach me, and pull bits and pieces from all over to try to help you to understand what God is asking of you as a man. And if you listen and you try your best, then God will give you more than I can, because if you and him have a good relationship, he'll send the Holy Spirit to talk to you during the day. And if you listen, then your life will drastically turn around and change. So, why am I? So these first 5 shows, so the Catholic Alpha Radical show has now become the Catholic Alpha Radical live show, where I come to you 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and I talk to you because me and my wife wanted to help more people than just people in my program, people who I talk to, people in your environment. They really don't talk to you about the situation because they're close to you. Just like Jesus said, you're never a hero in your own town, right? But that's fine, but basically we want to help more people and get the word out there, because we want everybody's marriage to be as good as ours or better. All right. So that's what I'm here for. So I figured I could help more people, and more people could benefit from our ministry and our work by me going on 5 days a week. Hopefully our audience will keep building over the years. And before you know it, we'll have one of those Joe Rogan audiences of 200 million. Woo, that'll be crazy. But anyway, let's start with the whatever audiences God sends me now, and let's rock that. Okay. So why am I qualified to give you guidance on your marriage? Why am I a marriage coach? Well, I'm a marriage coach because I got tired of marriages failing, the family. And I looked at my children, and I have 5 of them, and I looked up, and, I didn't want them to experience the crap I did. So whether they choose to listen to me or not, that's on them. You know how kids are. They own people, and they try to be like they're on their own. But I tried to raise my kids to lean on me and their mother and come to us when, for even the smallest things, so that we can help them. But you know how kids are. They're going to do what they're going to do. The good thing is, I wanted to do this for them as well as for you. And so in my marriage, I'm qualified because of my experience. I had 2 marriages, been married over almost 40 years combined. And my first marriage, it was good at first, like all marriages are, right? Then what happened? Somehow it just started to go south. We messed around each other. I'd be away, she'd be away, and we come together, and just things never. Then once we got out of the military and came home, things got worse, and and before I knew it, she's asking for divorce. She's leaving. We're in divorce court. And it's bad. It was bad. Then my wife, she contracted leukemia, and then she passed away while we're in divorce court. And so I decided I was not going to let that happen again. But of course, it started happening again in my second marriage, and it was off. My second marriage was chaos at first too. Me and my wife truly loved each other, but sometimes when the devil, when you're not doing the sacraments, man, going to mass, adoration, you know, things like that, taking the Eucharist, all that kind of stuff. Man, the Satan just puts itself right in your family, in your environment, and you don't even know what's going on. You're just trying to put more food on your table and try to keep everybody out of physical harm. But you got to realize it's more to this life than physically protecting someone, your family and your marriage and your wife. It's a spiritual protection thing too that you as the man are responsible for. And so what I had to do is figure out, who was the problem. I was the problem. I figured out I was the problem. And in most men, that is a taboo. To look in the mirror at myself and say, it's my fault. That takes a real insight into yourself to be able to do that. And that's what one of the best advices I can give any man out there that thinks you're in a good, first of all, if you think you're in a good marriage, you're not. Okay? That's your first problem. You think you're in a good marriage, and so you take it for granted, and then you look up one day and your marriage is not good. But that's what you do as a man. Look in the mirror and make sure that you could have done whatever happens between you and your wife. Look, and your kids too. Look at the mirror and say, is there something I could have done better than that situation? And so that's really it, man. And then, of course, I've coached, because the difference between coaching and counseling. And if anybody wants to know the answer to that, just let me know. But there's a difference between coaching and counseling. I'm a marriage coach. And so we get out, I've coached hundreds of men and talked to a lot of women. And so I have a lot of experience, and there's nothing I haven't heard. So let's get started, fellas. Let's get started and get this going. So what are the behaviors of a troubled wife? What are they? What are the clues that your wife displays when she is unhappy and considering or planning to leave your marriage? More important question is why. You always must ask why, but you must also decide, do you know or do you even care? Most guys don't even care if if she's really, if she's unhappy or something's wrong with her. They just figure she'll figure it out. Most people we're taught today, especially, and it's trickled down to our marriage. Well, if you ain't happy, it's because it's your fault. If your marriage is, it's your fault. You my wife, but hey, you gotta get yourself together, and I'll try and get myself together. That is ludicrous. We're one flesh. We need to be together. Okay, everything we do is together. We win together, we fail together. We win together, we lose together. Okay. Those of you listening who think your wife will never leave you are in a dream world. And if right now the answer to the question of are you and your wife as emotionally close as you should be is no, or I'm not sure, you have entered the wife's exit strategy, the wife's strategy zone, where your wife is considering or has considered what to do about the lack of emotional connection in your marriage. And remember, as I've said, this whole week, I'm going to really harp on this. I'm going to tell my story of why I do CatholicAlpha.com and all of that stuff. But I'm really going to harp on the wife's exit strategy, man, for the rest of these 19 or 20 episodes, because the wife's exit strategy is your future. Okay, if you don't really understand what I mean by that, you need to listen to show 1 and 2. Because the wife's exit strategy lets you know that your wife is planning to leave you and what's going to happen next. And the first clue that you got serious marriage problems is your wife is nagging you, no matter if it's little or a lot. The reason why is because that's her trying to get validation that you still care for her. And if your wife is doing that, that means she feels unloved right now. She's unsure what's going to happen with you and your marriage. Now, she's not going to tell you that because she doesn't want to cause any problems and get you to get mad and leave prematurely. But you've got to understand that's what your wife is doing. Women ain't stupid. They might be a little vulnerable and a little naive at first because they love you and care about you. You probably slept with them and you're bonded to them now. You guys probably, before your marriage, you probably slept together. So it's hard for women to leave. Once a woman sleeps with you, once you don't protect the woman and you sleep with her before you guys are married, she's kind of stuck. Why? Because she's bonded to you now. Guys and women, every person that you've ever had sex with your whole life is bonded to you for the rest of your life. And as a woman, that really damages you. It causes trauma in your life. But in today's society, with the big feminine world, the feminazi world, oh, we can handle anything. We can sleep with 100 men, and it doesn't matter. We're strong women. Yeah, right. Till you have that first climax, and it's over. See, I know the deal about women. So I'm gonna teach you about yourself, and I'm gonna teach these men about you, so that you guys can start coming together and share and having a great marriage. The deal is, man, you've got to understand that before a man and a woman have sex, the woman is in complete control of the relationship. Complete control. After they have sex and the woman comes to fruition, which means what? She has a climax. After that, the man is in complete control. He has to almost kill her before she's leaving. So that's kind of how you guys got to look at this. Women, but then over time, if you neglect them, if the pain of being with you becomes way more, like 10x times the pain to be without you, she will plan to leave. It's like a woman that gets beat up. You know, her husband every day beats her in the face or whatever. At first, she's like, okay, I'll forgive you. And he's, I'm sorry. It might take 2 times for her to leave. It might take 1,000 times for her to leave. But eventually, she will leave because the pain is becoming too much for her to bear. And then she starts to realize, this fool don't even love me for real. He don't. And so that's what I mean. Women, they're a little naive at first. But, man, when they get smart and they catch on to your game, there's nothing you can do. They got you, man. They got you. They're like elephants. They ain't forgetting nothing. And on top of that, I tell people all the time, there's two time spans. There's God's time and women's time when they pissed off at you. And guess what? Those 2 time spans are not that far apart. So you've got to make sure that the best way to keep from going through all this stuff, man, of your wife taking your 401k, you guys splitting up, your wife taking your kids, is to get on top of your marriage, man, before all that stuff starts to happen, before your wife starts to nag you, before the emotional closeness starts to leave. Okay? Then you'll start to see your marriage. You'll want to come home. You'll want to stay with your wife. You want to hang out with her. You love being around her. But dude, if you really don't like being around your wife, if she's not your best friend, if you guys don't spend time together, dude, eventually it'll be 20 years from now or a year from now or 6 months. I've had guys come talk to me. They've been the least amount of time I've talked to somebody has been 6 months. They've been married 6 months and already she wants a divorce. Do you want that to be you? Anyway, remember, emotional closeness is the most important thing for a woman, because for her, this is the most important thing above God, the children, her duty as a wife, or her mother. Once the closeness is gone, she will start telling herself, this is not what I signed up for. Then comes the question, can I be happier with him or without him? If the answer is, I can be happier, sadly, she will start planning to her exit strategy like I just talked about, and you, her husband, will not even suspect it. Right now, most of you in the audience, your wife has thought about what I'm saying. She's not going to tell you. This is why one of the holy lover gifts is never take your wife for granted and appreciate her every day. There's 2 holy lover gifts that you should know. Never take your wife for granted and show her appreciation every day. If you don't do that, she'll start to think you don't care. Now, you could think that what I'm saying is not true if you won't, but I'm telling you, it is true. Women, the reason they don't talk about stuff like I'm talking about, because they don't want to piss you off and they don't want you to leave. Because right now, if your wife has not already asked for a divorce or asked for separation, she still truly cares about you. Her feelings for you are at the top of her mind, and she doesn't talk to you about these things because she still loves you and don't want to upset you and wants you to leave prematurely. It caused a big argument and all that stuff. Because what does a man do? You know, men, what are we gonna do? As soon as our wife says, Why aren't you paying enough attention to me? I feel you don't care about me. Do you really care about me? Why do you love me? We can start getting all messed up and start acting all crazy, yelling at her, raising her voice at her, telling her, girl, you're just dreaming. Of course I love you. Trying to act all like that. And women, they don't want to go through all that stuff. So they just keep quiet. And then they start to avoid. So avoidance is almost is just as bad as arguing and fighting. Because avoidance means I'm not going to talk about the problem. Hopefully it'll go away. Well, marriage problems never go away. The only thing marriage problems do is geographically get bigger. Not geometrically, I'm sorry. They geometrically get bigger, okay? For this reason, the clues in this series are so valuable as they give you an idea of what is to happen if you are willing to see and act upon them. If you make the rookie mistake and think she is being emotional or I'll take care of this later, you'll find that later never comes and your wife and family have exited stage left. Because I know from experience that no one teaches us how to build a great, loving, passionate, and exciting marriage for decades. So that's one other thing. You got to stop thinking in your marriage as far as day to day. You've got to start thinking of your marriage as 10 years from now, 20 years, 50 years, 60 years. Are we going to be together 60 years from now? In order to be together 60 years from now and to be happy and passionate and loving and caring about each other, you've got to start building that today, because that kind of love does not happen in a year or 6 months or 5 years. It takes time, okay? Next, so in my effort to help you, I present to you the clues that, if noticed or better yet removed from your marriage, will help you rekindle it and save you and your family much pain and agony. In today's Catholic Alpha Radical Live episode, we cover clue 13, that your wife wants to divorce, and we will go into that after the break. Woohoo! If you're getting value from this podcast and would like more personal marriage help, visit SaveMyCatholicMarriage.com for an opportunity to work with me personally for free. Yes, within 30 days, learn how to become a better husband that attracts your wife back to you. Visit SaveMyCatholicMarriage.com and get a plan tailored specific to your marriage and situation. I've helped hundreds of men in their marriages. Allow me the chance to help you using my personal and gained experience. Visit SaveMyCatholicMarriage.com for superior coaching for your marriage. Again, SaveMyCatholicMarriage.com. That's SaveMyCatholicMarriage.com to become the man God created you to be and the husband your wife needs. Lastly, I always get the question, why don't you help women? And I always answer them, I do. So, for all of you beloved wives out there that want to reignite that feeling of emotional closeness and complete love from your hubby, consider marriage coaching and visit SaveMyCatholicMarriage.com for an improved marriage within 30 days. All right, so we're back. So what do you think, huh? Do you have a troubled wife? Is she unhappy? Are you guys making love on a regular basis? Huh? Are you holding hands? Are you sitting next to each other on the couch to watch movies? Are you going on date night? You having bonding conversations every day? Huh? Or are you just waking up, going to work, kissing her on the cheek, come back home, eat dinner, watch some TV, kick the dog, kiss the kids, kiss your wife, go to bed? Is that your life? Huh? I don't know. Well, I say, if you got a question, you having those problems right now, call 313-RADICAL. That's 313-723-4225. Or call from your browser. Just insert the URL callingstudio.com/radical1. Okay. So let's get into it. Get into it. So what is the number 13 clue that your wife wants a divorce? Drum roll, please. Her friends and or siblings are more important than you. Woo-hoo, woo-hoo, woo-hoo. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. How many of us sense that one? Remember I talked about yesterday about guys I get in my program and the dogs are more important than them? Boy, that's as low as you can get. But not far from that is friends and siblings. Because why? Because with God, we're supposed to leave our parents, and which means basically in Ephesians 5, it talks about you're supposed to leave your parents and take care of your wife, and you and your wife go off on your own. Why? Because as long as you're under your parents' tutelage, which we'll go more about into this at a later date, you know, as long as you're under their tutelage, you can't be your own couple. And so this kind of goes along with that, you know, your wife, your wife, every time she has a problem, she's going to talking to single friends, divorced friends. She's going to talk to her brothers and sisters, you know, and they don't know nothing. And most of the time, those people will tell your wife, leave him. You're better than that. You deserve better. Guess what? Well, maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. I don't know. But what I do know is that's from hell. If you talk to people about your marriage and they're telling you to move on or to have you go out and try to find somebody else or anything like that, they're just inviting you to go south with them at the particular judgment. Really, that's a hell offense, man. Think about that, okay? Remember, your wife doesn't want to put others above you. She really doesn't. But usually when friends and siblings are more important than you, this means that the emotional closeness with you is not there. And she begins clinging to others who she believes will be there for the long haul. Because in her mind, she doesn't think you will be. That is a very important statement. Think about what I just said. This is why you've got to understand women and your woman and your wife and your girlfriend. This is how it works. Women they crave being around others. It makes them feel secure, right? It makes them, you know, they draw strength from that. That's when you're as a man and you're not acting right in a relationship, your wife goes and starts talking to other women because they're other women, right? And so why? Because they want support. And then once your wife gets the courage, and she'll get it from them eventually, to tell you that she wants out, she wants to leave, or she wants a divorce, it's a tough job for you after that, because she starts saying, I'm going to listen to them. And I'm not listening to you no more. This is why, as a man and a husband, you got to stay on top of your game. Okay? Please, fellas, hear what I'm saying. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. This is your freaking life we're talking about. This is the life of your wife, your children, yourself, and your relationship with God, man. Stop putting stuff off and procrastinating on everything. The stuff that matters. Look, your job is important. You got to eat. But even that is not as important as your relationship with God and relationship with your wife. And if you don't get that through your head, man, eventually you'll be calling me. Now, I'm talking to guys that ain't got to that point yet of their wife asked for a divorce, or their wife wants a separation, or in separate bedrooms. You're already in marriage crisis. You need to be calling me today. You need to be going to SaveMyCatholicMarriage.com right now and talking to me now, because you can't get out of that. Like I was telling you the last 2 episodes, once you get in a crisis like you're in, where your wife has asked for a divorce, or you have some separate bedrooms and things like that, or you haven't had sex in over a month, once you get to those kind of problems, man, you can't get out of that on your own. I don't care what nobody tells you. You need coaching help. You need professional coaching help. All right? So, moving on. So, let's be honest. You'll see this all the time, right? Just like with yesterday's clue about the kids being more important, women naturally need others around them to make them feel secure. And if you have been neglecting her for years, she will begin to look for a replacement for you. And for now, that is the kids, divorced friends, single women, and siblings. Now, what does that mean for you? When your wife starts confiding in her brothers and sisters, her single friends, her divorced friends, her work buddies, when she starts confiding in them, what does that mean for you? It means that you have opened up your marriage and home to the demonic because you've been distracted. This is how your home becomes chaotic. Your priorities are messed up. Your priorities are messed up. You have to understand, as a man, you are tasked with God as the head and the response, which means what? You are responsible for your home, which means what? You are charged to lead that home, which means what? You are charged to serve. And so if you don't serve God first, your wife and marriage and your kids, before you think about yourself, your wants, your desires, and your needs, Satan will enter your home. He will. He's probably already there and you don't even know it, but I can tell you how you know it. Your wife is nagging you. Your kids are disrespectful. Your kids are getting in trouble all the time. Your wife's having an affair. You and your wife are fighting and arguing all the time. Okay, you're blaming her for everything. She's blaming you. You're criticizing her. She's criticizing you. All these kind of things, man, Satan has entered into your home. Every time your wife talks, you can't stand to hear her voice. Every time you talk, you guys can't even sit together and watch a movie together. I mean, next to each other on the same couch. You can't hold hands. You can't go for walks. You don't even want to buy her nothing to show her you care. You don't even want to spend time with her. She don't want to spend time with you. Dude, and the biggest tell is you have sex less than once a week. If you're engaging in a marital embrace less than once a week, you got problems. You got problems. That means you and your wife once a week. How many hours are in a week in 7 days? Somebody comment me and tell me, because I don't know. It's a lot. Out of all those days and hours and minutes in 1 week, you and your wife can't make love for 60 minutes. Can't come together in 60 minutes for 60 minutes. Man, you got problems, dude. You don't even know it. You don't know it. So the devil's in your home. He's in there. Get him out. So this also means chaos in your home and not peace, because the heart and nurture of your home feels unloved and uncared for. If you are not your wife's best friend, you must begin to ask, who is and where is she getting that fulfillment from in her life? When a wife has an affair, so let's talk about the best friend thing. So the best friend, I call it the best friend concept in my program. So the best friend concept means that you are your wife's best friend and she is your best friend. If you are one of those women that talk about, yeah, well, she was my friend since we was 5 years old and she's my best friend and she's done so much for me, nobody cares. God doesn't care either. Your husband is your focus. Your husband is your focus, okay? Your husband is your focus, and you should be with him. You should be focused on him. As the husband, your focus should be your wife. And if you got a guy, we went to college together and we're high school best friends and stuff, man, that's a bunch of bull crap, dude. It's a bunch of bull crap. It really is. You know, you've got to understand, man, the best friend concept makes your love making on fire. It makes your relationship on fire, because best friends don't leave each other. Best friends want to spend time with each other. Best friends enjoy being around each other all the time. As a matter of fact, best friends do everything they can to hang out and be together because they have good feelings about each other. And if you are not your wife's best friend, dude, if you are not creating that environment in your marriage, you will have problems. Because what does that mean? That means that every time your wife has a problem or something, guess who she's gonna talk to? Her best friend. And then who's her best friend gonna talk to about her problem? Her best friend gonna talk to her best friend. You know how it works. You have to get it in your marriage that when there's a problem, when my wife is unsettled, the first person she comes to talk to is you. Okay? It's you. If she's not coming to talk to you first, you will eventually be in divorce court. You will. All right? Sex, next. So, Matt says it's 168 hours in a week. Thanks, brother. So, okay, let's talk about that for like 30 seconds. That goes back to what I said. If you and your wife are making love less than once a week. That is 168 hours. You can't come together for one of those 168 hours? Really think about that concept, dude. Really think about that. That means you and your wife do not even want to have sex with each other. You really don't, because if you people that want to make love and engage in the marital embrace with God and all that stuff, they make it happen, whether they want to or not. That's another thing. We all think that sex has to do with feelings. Sex doesn't really have to do with feelings. Sex is a responsibility. It's a duty. The reason I talk about sex the way I do, because as if I were a woman, I would not want to make love to my husband because it was a duty all the time. I'd want to make love to my husband because he's a hell of a lover and he's going to make me feel good and I'm going to have a good time. That is what it's about. But of course, in the eyes of God, sex between two people married is a one flesh thing with him and them together. And it's a duty to, when you can't turn each other down when the other one wants to make love. Why? Because if one denies the other the act of the marital embrace, that is a mortal sin. So why is it a mortal sin? It's a mortal sin because I tell you, think about it. The only time God gets mad at us is what? When we act like we are God and we interfere in creation. Okay? So what is interfering in creation? Interfering in creation is same-sex attraction, contraception, birth control, masturbation, pornography, those kind of things. Those are offenses against chastity, not because God hates those people or hates you. He loves you. He has mercy. If God didn't love you, he'd just kill you right away. He'd have you die right away. But God has mercy because when we commit a mortal sin, he allows us to be able to correct that. But remember, God created us because he wanted as many of us as souls to be in the beatific vision with him. So when we do things that interfere in the creation of souls, so contraception or birth control means that God sends you all of these souls and allows you and your wife to participate in the godlike act of creation, and we put a rubber on to block those souls. So we kill them all. That's why abortion, same thing. So this, if people get mad at God because he has all these so-called rules, but dude, it's not really like that. God created us, so he knows what makes us happy. He knows what makes us thrive and more passionate and loving and happy and things like that. He knows how our body works and what and keeps our soul in order so that we're not feeling guilty and shameful and things like that. It's like I was talking about yesterday, inside of a football field. God is the football field. He's the white lines around the football field. Inside that football field, you can do anything you want within the rules and you will thrive. The people, just like in the Super Bowl, the Kansas City Chiefs thrived because they figured out under the rules how to win that game and be the best at that time. The other team, the Philadelphia Eagles, they tried, they didn't quite make it. And that's how heaven is. That's how your journey to heaven is. Don't look at the white lines, the 10 Commandments, the laws of God as rules. Look at them as freedom. That who can outthink the other to get to heaven? That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about, really. Okay? So like I'm saying, if you and your wife, out of 168 hours, you can't spend 1 hour making love a week, you have problems. Admit it. You have problems. Stop putting your head in the sand. Okay? Nice to see you too, Joe. What's up, baby? So let's move on. We're almost done. So. Oh, man, this is good. Good stuff, Jerry. Good stuff, y'all. Good stuff. So when a wife has an affair, she is basically trying to fulfill the void she is not getting from you. Why? Because no woman signs up to love, honor, and cherish a man only to leave him for another. Contrary to popular belief, Women choose us, we don't choose them. Think about what I just said too. If your wife is having an affair on you, or if your wife is having an emotional affair, which is what most women do. Most women don't have physical affairs. They have what we call emotional affairs. It's the same thing and just as bad. It doesn't matter. In the eyes of God, both of them are just as bad. To you, though, somebody penetrating your wife is probably worse than your wife giving her heart over to him. But either one, both of them are very bad. But you got to remember what I just said. If a woman is doing that, she's doing that because she's not getting something from you. Because, like I said, women don't choose. Women don't want, once they choose you and marry you, they do not want to give themselves to anybody else. They only do it because they're playing their cards because you're not listening. You're not trying to make it happen. Now, don't get me wrong. What your wife, if a woman is messing around her husband, that is completely wrong. That's her responsibility. My job as your coach is to tell you why, though, so that you can understand how women think. You've got to understand how women think. And once you understand how a woman thinks, you can love her better. You can learn her mysteries better. You can be into her better, and she'll be into you. If you keep trying to act like don't care about how your wife thinks, the things she does, that what she means, how she moves, how she talks, how she feels, you are going to always be behind the 8-ball, dude. Always, always, always. Okay? And then you're going to allow some knucklehead to get in between you and your wife, and once that happens, things get dangerous. Why? Because when a wife gives herself to another man, in that man's eyes, she's my woman now. She's mine now. You can sit there and go, that's my wife. That's my wife. Well, your wife, he's saying, well, your wife didn't tell me that. She's mine. She's mine now. And this is why men, we have our priorities messed up. Please, fellas, please hear what I'm saying. All right? So, get back in the game. Because time is short, my brother. Get back in the game because time is short. Bam. Let's talk about your Catholic marriage problems. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Eastern. Live streamed on the Catholic Alpha Radical Facebook page and CatholicAlpha.com. If you're getting value from this podcast and would like more personal marriage help, visit SaveMyCatholicMarriage.com for an opportunity to work with me personally for free. Yes, within 30 days, learn how to become a better husband that attracts your wife back to you. Visit SaveMyCatholicMarriage.com and get a plan tailored specific to your marriage and situation. I've helped hundreds of men in their marriages. Allow me the chance to help you using my personal and gained experience. Visit SaveMyCatholicMarriage.com for superior coaching for your marriage. Again, SaveMyCatholicMarriage.com. That's SaveMyCatholicMarriage.com to become the man God created you to be and the husband your wife needs. Lastly, I always get the question, why don't you help women? And I always answer them, I do. So, for all of you beloved wives out there that want to reignite that feeling of emotional closeness and complete love from your hubby, consider marriage coaching and visit SaveMyCatholicMarriage.com for an improved marriage within 30 days. All right, so please, as we conclude today, I want you guys to spread the word. Let if you're enjoying this, if you're enjoying the show, just let your wife tell your wives, what we're doing. Tell your parents, your siblings, your everybody that's married, and also those single men and women that are trying to get married too, that are living together, all that kind of stuff. Believe it or not, man, women can learn a lot from what me and you guys are trying to do, because as I'm talking about you learning about women, when I talk and help you, the women are learning about us as men. dude, it's a twofold thing. That's why I talk to men. I don't really talk to women a lot. I don't really address women a lot in this podcast. The reason why is because I know that the stronger marriages are when the man is on his job. If the woman's on her job, the marriage is just really, it might be okay, but it's not good or great. Only men can make a marriage great and legendary. Not because we're better or more talented or have more skills. It's because that's the way God set it up. Everybody in the marriage is waiting. Everybody in the family is waiting for us, the man, to get it together. Once we get it together, then God is happy. Our wife is happy and will follow us and draw the kids to us. The kids are happy because their mother and father are loving each other. They show it, and the kids feel secure from that. Believe it or not, man, you have so much power as a man. You really do. You just don't understand it and realize it because the faith has been watered down so damn much that it's just a trickle of what it could be. This is why, as a man today, if you are depending on mass, the priests in the pulpits to educate you on God and Jesus Christ and the Blessed Mother and the saints, you're sorely mistaken. You're sorely mistaken. You know, they're all priests today. I don't care how good or bad they are under handcuffs. They're under handcuffs. They can't talk about the four last things of death, judgment, heaven, and hell. Because if they do, eventually they get to the things that matter of abortion, same-sex attraction, masturbation, pornography, sleeping together, having sex when you're not married. All these things, they start talking about hell and with the consequences of hell. They start talking about heaven and how to get there and what you got to do to get there. They talk about judgment and death, what happens when you die, what happens when you get judged. Just think if every single priest that you knew, or if you're Protestant, just think if every pastor you knew in the Christian world talked about the stuff I just said. Every single one of them, all 100% of them. Just think how great this country would be. Just think how great this country would be. Just think how great the families would again be. Just think how great the men would be. But we have been let down. We have been let down. So as a man, that's why God makes you responsible. Because if you sit around and you listen, and you don't take charge of your family and the success of your family, and you allow this world of social media, of news, ABC, CNBC, CNN, all that crap, Hollywood, if you allow these commercials, man, the commercials, man, you know, I only watch TV. So I only watch live TV during what? The playoffs of football and the Super Bowl. I don't watch football. My sport is football. I love basketball and other sports too, but I don't have time to watch those like a lot of people do because I got a lot of work. But on Sunday, that's my day off. That's the day I have to take off from God. So I say, well, I might as well go ahead and watch some football. But me and my son for the last 10 years, or however long the red zone NFL red zone has been on, dude, that's how we watch football because we don't want to watch commercials on that stuff. If you don't know what NFL red zone is, NFL red zone is basically, it's the bomb. Basically, with you see all the games on Sunday, but you don't see the full game. You only see the games. You see the game when the teams get inside the 20. Okay. Once they get inside the 20 and somebody's about to score, then the TV cameraman goes to that game, and then you can hear the announcers and everything. But then they just keep going back and forth for 3 hours, and it is the bomb. It is the most fun way to watch football ever created. And if you haven't watched NFL Red Zone, man, you will love it. I promise you, if you love football. Now, the reason I'm saying this is, but when the playoffs come, NFL Red Zone is only for regular season. It goes away. So you have to watch Fox, NBC, CBS, and that kind of stuff. And so during that time, commercials come on. And man, it's just diabolical, these commercials, dude. It's just diabolical. I mean, I don't even want to go into it because I'll probably get in trouble with Facebook. But you know what I'm talking about. I ain't got to even say it. I mean, naked people. And that's one thing to see naked people, half naked people on Netflix and HBO and all that stuff. But on live TV with millions and millions of kids watching NFL playoffs and stuff, and the Super Bowl commercials. But anyway, so I don't get into that, man. We don't. Only time we watch commercial TV because you have no choice. You try to get it live stream, but NFL's not playing that game. You got to watch who you got to watch the channels that they have paid them all that money to stream it to watch, which is ABC, NBS, Fox, and all them. So that being said, man, I hope y'all got some good out of the show today. I'll post a replay here. You'll get an email about the replay if you want to, spread it to your friends and everything. And that's another good thing too, man. I'm here every day, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. If you don't get it to here, you can always listen to it. So my point of it is, man, all of us have brothers and sisters and parents and friends that have marriage problems. Very, very few people are happy in their marriage and thriving. Most marriages are boring, mediocre, okay, or bad or terrible. Okay? My job is where I want to help you help them. And that's how if you feel that your hands are tied, just give them the link, send them an email or text them and say, hey, man, check this guy out about marriage, man. He's if you think I'm good, hey, he's good. He'll help you, man. He'll help you. You can ask questions and everything. Okay? So, that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Boy, this week has been rough for me, man. This time thing, you think doing a show live every day wouldn't be that bad, but boy, it's tough. I'm tired. But I'll get used to it. So, in conclusion, as we always do, we hear a quote from Pope Benedict XVI, and it states, society offers you comfort, but you weren't made for comfort. You were made for greatness. So go forth, Christian soldier. The spiritual fight is upon you. Fast, pray, and prepare for battle. Thank you for listening in today. If what you heard helped you in any way and you would like more personal attention, visit SaveMyCatholicMarriage.com for superior marriage coaching. And remember to join the Catholic Alpha Radical Live podcast as a caller or listener every Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. To join as a caller, dial area code 313-RADICAL. To join as a listener or view the live stream, visit the Catholic Alpha Radical Live Facebook page or visit CatholicAlpha.com for Catholic marriage help that actually works. Bam!